Good morning, good morning. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th. Yeah. We're going to have a good day today. I hope everyone's going to be joining their families afterwards, going somewhere to a park, enjoying life. It's a good day to enjoy our independence, right? Here we go. Come on. Standing outside the door of love and mercy, you wonder if there's a place there for you. You know there's peace inside, but you're still searching for someone who understands the pain that you've been through. With the doors unlocked, the lights are on. What are you waiting for? Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Hey. You'll find a place of rest in the arms of spirit. God's waited so long for your homecoming day. God knows the peace you seek and the hurt you're feeling. Spirit wants to hold you and to wipe your tears away. Well, the Father waits with open arms. God is calling out your name. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Here we go. There is room enough in the house of love for someone just like you. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, welcome. Hey, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Hey, come on in. No matter where you've been, come on in. Thank you.
Good morning, Unity of Pompano, and once again, happy 4th of July. I'm so honored to be up here. My name is Dina Shimmick, and I am honored to fill in for our spiritual leaders, Bev Spivey and Reverend Lawrence Palmer, as they are taking, we can wave, definitely, Carmela, a well-deserved R&R trip to the Bahamas. They have kept us going while the whole world was slowing down and stopping. They hardly pumped the brakes. They have kept us spiritually fed now for over a year and a half. They have made sure that we stay open and that we have classes and so much going on. So we want to bless them on this trip. We hope that they are in peace and beauty and enjoying it, and the weather is keeping up for them. And another group that we are so grateful to have that did not miss a beat during this time are our amazing musical team led by James McCoy.
Good morning. Happy 4th to everyone. We're so happy to be here. We have Mr. John Rose with us once again at the piano. Mr. Jeff Renza at the drum set. And of course, our featured soloist is once again Miss Danette Rivas. We love Danette, and we have music from Babby Mason this morning. And we have some traditional old-time church this morning too later. So it's going to be fun.
As always, we're going to enjoy that. Thank you. And we are so blessed to have our very own board members and prayer chaplains giving our talk this morning. With us, we have Carmela Garone. Yeah, let's give it up. And Bob Wilson, who you will hear from shortly. We want to say hello and welcome to all of our live streamers, our Facebookers, our YouTubers, wherever you are connecting to watch us, we thank you. We know that those PJs are cozy, but you cannot replicate the feeling that is in this sanctuary. I'm sure all the people here will agree. Please come on out. If you're comfortable, if you feel safe, you can wear a mask, you can socially distance. There's plenty of room in here. We would love to see your faces, and if you're willing to, get some hugs from you as well. So we're looking forward to seeing you back here. No need to reserve a seat. You could just come on in any Sunday. So we welcome you. Also, if you go to our website, unitypompanobeach.org, you will find all of our many announcements, anything you may want to know about us. And then also there's a place there for a prayer request. We also have blue slips in the back for anyone who's here. We have a dedicated, loving team of prayer chaplains that would love to pray with you for anything you might be going through, even any celebrations. So please go ahead and fill out a prayer request if you need us to pray with you. So we have just a couple announcements. A reminder that next Sunday, after our service at 1 p.m., we are going to have a ceremony, a celebration of life for our dear Virginia Lane, who has passed. Her family is putting on a service here, and then afterwards we're going to have some time to gather in fellowship. So please come out for that after the service next Sunday. The following Sunday is our dedication of seats. Many of you know that we have reupholstered our seats. They are gorgeous. A big thank you to Ann Poole for picking out this fabulous fabric. And we do have a few more slots open. So if you would like to dedicate a chair to yourself, to someone who's passed, a loved one, perhaps someone that has moved away, please go ahead and do so. All those details are on our website, and we have just a few left, so go ahead and take advantage of that. We will have a beautiful dedication again on the 18th during our Sunday service. And then August 1st, we're going to take some time to honor all of those that have passed in the past year and a half. We've had many of our loved ones, our members, our congregants, our friends who have passed away. And we haven't really had an opportunity to get together and be in support and in love. So that service will be dedicated to all of them. If perhaps you're new here and you don't know some of our loved ones who have transitioned, come anyways. We all have something over this past year that we have grieved or we have released. And it'll be a nice time to go ahead and celebrate those spirits and also release anything that needs releasing. So we look forward to seeing you there. Again, that's August 1st. And now we have our theme for the year that we are 6 months into, and we are keeping up on how to stay centered no matter what. And we know that even when things get off kilter and we feel off balance, that we can quickly just connect back to spirit and stay centered no matter what's going on. Our theme for July is understanding, and our affirmation is, with spiritual understanding, I know everything is unfolding for my highest good. Now, if you have a good memory, you can repeat with me. With spiritual understanding, I know everything is unfolding for my highest good. And so it is. And now moving right into the daily word for this morning, it is appropriately freedom. In thought, word, and action, I celebrate my freedom. There are many ways to feel free. I may work hard to become financially free. I may plan trips so I can freely explore the world. I may commit to learning for intellectual freedom or exercise my body for greater freedom of movement. Even as I do my work in the world to know freedom, I remember that I'm always free at the level of spirit. No situation or circumstance has power over me. Every day and in every area of my life, I live from my divine nature, where I am wholly and completely free. Through my inner powers of understanding and faith, I recognize and embrace empowering beliefs. My spiritual gifts of strength and release keep me on course and help me free myself from habits that derail my spiritual growth. Through God within, I am grateful to be free. And the scripture comes from Galatians 5:1, for freedom Christ has set us free. And so it is.
Right now we'd like to begin a time of prayer and meditation by singing, You Know the Truth is You.
When you feel the light of God around you, you know the truth is you. As the light of God, the love of God surrounds you, you know the truth is you. Let the power of God, the peace of God inside you become the pearl only you. Become the peace only you. This is you. As the path grows, the mind connects you. You know the truth is you. May divine intelligence inside you always guide you to the truth. Let the power of God, the peace of God inside you become the pearl only you. Become the peace only you. That is you. That is you. It's you.
gracefully and with ease slip into this moment of meditation, I invite you to close your eyes, to simply just be as you are and start with your breath, inhaling slowly, followed by an exhale, allowing yourself to be more comfortable and grounded into this moment. And as we continue to breathe, let us notice any place in our body that may be tense or even resistant to being fully present in the now. Taking a deeper breath to allow us to sink right into this bliss. During these next few moments, we open ourselves up to the wisdom of Source. We easily breathe in and gracefully release any resistance, keeping us from being completely open and receptive. We feel peace in releasing any concern, curiosity, or a question to God, an intelligence that far surpasses our capabilities. We tune into our source of all good, of all love, of all intelligence. When we open ourselves up to that source, we meet our supply. At times, being met with an answer or just a knowing that all is well, even if we don't receive the answer we are looking for. Let us open ourselves up to so much more in the silence. Ask the question, or simply just sit in the knowing and trust. So now, as with our breath, we gently find our way back here, we know that there is so much beyond our understanding that possibly we aren't meant to fully understand at this time. We have patience and faith in divine timing, knowing that the answers will present themselves when we are ready to receive them. So as we go out into the world, living our daily lives, we will continue to be open as Spirit leads us to these answers through guidance, through intuition, through signs and synchronicities. So now together, let's take one last deep breath together and fully release it. And when comfortable, you may open your eyes as we sing together Alleluia.
Alleluia.
to lead the way. I will be the one who will stand in the gap, who will watch and pray. I will be the one who will walk with his brother in unity, who will live by faith and integrity, who will say to the Lord, here I am, send me. I will be the one. I will be the one that God is looking for. I will never be ashamed. In the name of the Lord, I'll stand and proclaim, yes, I will be the one. Yes, I will be the one. Like a city on a hill, who will shine the light. I will be the one. Sing it with us. In a world of darkness, who will hold it high. I will be the one who will pray for revival all over the land, who will seek God forgiveness for all our sin, who will ask the Lord to touch with his mighty hand. I will be the one. I will be the one that God is looking for. I will never be ashamed. In the name of the Lord, I'll stand and proclaim, yes, I will be the one. Yes, I will be the one who will call our nation to holiness. I will be the one who will raise up a standard of righteousness. I will be the one who will trust in the Lord for the rest of the days, who will honor the Lord in each and every way, who will give God the glory and all the praise. I will be the one. I will be the one that God is looking for. I will never be ashamed. In the name of the Lord, I'll stand and proclaim, yes, I will be the one. Yes, I will be the one. Oh, yes, I will be the one. I will be the one. Yeah. I will be the one. I will be the one. Yes, I will. Oh, yes, I will. I will be the one. Thank you.
Good morning, Unity. I have to tell you, it is just great to see real live people out here. And you know, I have to comment on what you've just experienced because I don't want us to ever take for granted what happens here. I think that Dina's platforming this morning, I was a little on the anxious side getting up here. What would my message? Would I be concise? Would people understand? And then there's Dina, who just gives this energy of groundedness with a beautiful prayer that you just can't get everywhere. And then there's James and the live music. What can I say? So I know we have a lot of people who are still out there, for one reason or another, haven't come back to the church, to our spiritual center. I want to encourage you to do it. Please do. It's just not the same. Live music and the spiritual, the energy that you could feel with this band this morning, you just can't get it over the wires. And so I want to just encourage you all to think about it and come out for the occasions that Dina has already explained. So this morning I'm going to talk about spiritual understanding, since this is the first Sunday of the month and we're focusing on understanding as the power. And so I'm going to share with you some of my own personal journey as a chaplain and even in my work as a member of the board in terms of how it relates to the practical application of my prayer and meditation. Those are really the reasons I came to Unity. Prayer is unique at Unity, and understanding that and being able to move into it is a gift in and of itself. So I'm struck by the words of the song, I will be the one. It's really each of us needs to proclaim for ourselves that we will be the one, that we will be on that spiritual journey, and we will explore what there is to explore. So in terms of spiritual understanding, I'm really drawn to a particular aspect of it because, you know, you can go in a lot of different places with the idea of understanding. I'm going to talk about intuition, okay? That kind of understanding that comes from within. Then in one form or another, it has to do with the thoughts and feelings that arise within us. Charles Fillmore actually, in his book on the 12 powers, did a wonderful job of describing this and setting sort of a tone, if you will. And I'm going to actually read it because I just think it's meaningful just the way it is. So Charles said, when we discover in ourselves a flow of thought that seems to have been evolved independently of the reasoning process, we're often puzzled about its origin and its safety as a guide. In its beginnings, this seemingly strange source of knowledge is often turned aside as kind of a daydream or just a thought that's passing through our minds. Again, it seems like a distant voice, an echo of something that we have heard and maybe forgotten. One should give attention to this unusual and usually faint whispering of the spirit. It is not the intellect, and it doesn't originate in the skull. It is the development in man of a great capacity to know himself and to understand the purpose of creation. It's enough to know that the understanding is opened in both head and heart when man gives himself wholly to the Lord. Charles, was a real advocate of science, especially given the time that he was writing. And so I think he would be okay with where I'm going to go with the rest of my talk, which is I'm going to talk about some of our current science and how it is now feeling very much like spiritual understanding and science are coming together. It's really in the realm, if you will, of quantum physics. The first group I want to talk about of research has to do with HeartMath. This is an institute that's been around now for 25 years, and they have done innumerable studies about the relationship of the heart with the brain. And they have had 300 peer-reviewed independent studies that suggest that there are three categories or types of, if you will, of intuition. So the first one might be the most obvious to us. It's implicit knowledge or implicit learning. It's the things that we absorb either through school or through experience that we take into our brains, and somehow that gets parked there on shelves in our brain. So I'm sure you've all had an experience where you can't remember where you left your keys, or you can't remember someone's name, or whatever, and there's a part of you that knows if I just park that in the back of my brain and go do something else, it'll pop up, and it does, often does. That would really be implicit. It's information that's stored there somewhere. The brain actually works even when you're asleep. Sometimes you can set up something to come to you or to reveal to you in your sleep, and your brain will pull that up. So that's called implicit knowledge or implicit learning. The second one is a really interesting one, I think, because it's an intuition that's called energetic sensitivity. So this is, it really refers to the ability of the nervous system to detect and respond to environmental signals or electromagnetic fields. So if you think about this one, you know, we all had circumstances where, well, we hear about this all the time. We hear that someone knew that a hurricane was imminent, or a tornado was just a matter of minutes away, or an earthquake. We also know that humans and animals have some kind of instinct around changes in the phases of the moon and the impact that it has on us. Animals in particular have a real sensitivity to this electromagnetic field. We have all kinds of studies. You know, the last tsunami they had in Japan, they lost almost no animals, because the animals, in some cases a day before, certainly hours before, were going to higher ground and finding safety somewhere because something was happening, something was going on. There was one this week, I heard on television, an interview with a couple who were at the Champagne Towers. This was a boyfriend and girlfriend who had been dating for 3 years. He lived at the towers, she lived somewhere else. They had a regular schedule to how they got together. On the particular night, which I think it was Wednesday night, he had been over to her house and he was ready to go back to his condo, and she said, "I really want you to stay here tonight." And he said, "Well, you know, I can't. For one thing, I'm in dirty clothes. I got to get up early tomorrow morning, so I really need to go back to my place." She said, "No, please, I'm begging you to stay here." And he said, "You never do this. You know I'm always here during the week, and that's not what we do." She said, "I just feel like something's going to happen." Okay, and that was the night the tower came down. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. I'm all right with this, yeah. Thank you. So now I want to move on to the third one, which I find the most fascinating of the intuitive processes. And this is called non-local intuition. Now, for those of you who happen to have been on a course that Cynthia taught recently, I understand from talking with Cynthia that you got a dose on non-local intuition. It refers to the knowledge or sense of something that cannot be explained by past or forgotten knowledge or by sensing environmental signals. It has been suggested that the capacity to receive and process information about non-local events appears to be the property of an all physical and biological organization, and this likely is because of the inherent interconnectedness of everyone in the universe. Basically, they are now discovering that there is another form of energy, and the difficulty with it at this point is they can't measure it. They can observe it, they can see when it happens, but they don't know how to measure it. And for our purposes, I'm going to use the term that some scientists use, which is called L energy, which stands for light energy. So the large body of information that's available in this, a lot of it came from this group that I referred to as HeartMath. And there's just one study that I'm going to try to present this very, very simply, but here's how it worked. And again, this has been repeated with over 1,000 subjects, so this is not a simple group of 20 people. They basically hooked people up. They asked people to meditate in a private room. They hooked them up with measurements for their heart and measurements for their brain, EKG and an ECG. And then on a monitor in front of them, they flashed photos. The photos were randomly distributed by a computer. They didn't even want a person sort of deciding which ones to do because they didn't want anything to affect the study. The photos were of two types. One was emotionally charged situations that were horrible. So it would be dead bodies, it would be skeletons, it would be a rattlesnake about to strike, that kind of thing that would startle you in a fear base. The other kind of pictures that they showed were very mellow, wonderful, loving, warm pictures. Pictures of puppies, bouquet of flowers, a sunset, an ocean. Again, these pictures all came out randomly, and as people observed, what they found, and this is the fascinating part, is that after the showing of several pictures, 2 or 3 pictures, all of a sudden, all of these participants with a level of significance started to actually emote and react both with their heart and their mind before the picture showed up on the screen. Okay? So it was very shocking when this first occurred, and in fact, they decided that it was somewhere around 4 to 5 seconds. So they clocked all of this, so they knew that people were beginning to have heart and brain reactions 4 to 5 seconds before the picture showed, and it was in alignment, the kind of reaction they had was in alignment with the nature of the picture, whether it was scary or it was warm and loving. All right? Now, here's the thing I think that's even more interesting. I mean, I think that's pretty good. That means precognitive. People have a sense that something's going to occur even before it does, and even can kind of qualify it a little bit. But here's the other part of it. Which do you think responded first, the heart or the brain? The heart. You know, we live in kind of a brain culture that everything's about studying the brain and all the aspects of the brain, but they found in all of these cases that the brain was able to respond more than, let me just see what the actual number was. It was somewhere around a half a second before the brain did. So it wasn't the old story we hear that a brain sees something and it tells it the heart, be scared. It's the other way around. The heart, in fact, is notifying the brain that they need to do something. All right? So this has been verified that 1.5 seconds is the length of time that the heart was ahead of the brain in determining these. So you know this old saying, go with the force, Luke? Let the force be with you? Sound familiar to anyone? Yeah, so anyone who grew up in Star Wars culture has to know that. Well, I have to tell you just a quick little thing. My grandson and I were playing one of those games on a video game. And I wasn't doing very well. It was Mario Kart, and I frankly couldn't keep the darn car on the track, and I was getting incredibly angry and tense about it, at which point my, I think then, 8-year-old grandson reaches over, puts his hand on top of mine on the controller, and he says, Grandpa, be with the force. So I'm grateful that Skywalker is around to start educating my grandson around the importance and the power of the force. One last thing I just want to touch upon is the writings of another person. His name is Paul, and Paul was a writer, he's deceased now, who had serious illness, and as a result of it, he is also a psychoneurologist. So he was studying the effects of issues on the brain. And what he worked particularly with were people who had had heart transplants. So as a psychologist, he worked with them. And over the years, he gathered a huge amount of data about these experiences of heart recipients, that they in fact took on incredible personality changes that could only be, and they didn't even know who the donor was, but eventually when they were connected back to, they found that these changes had to do with characteristics of the donor of the heart. So they went through, spouses would say, wow, he used to be a type A, now he's the mellowest dude in the world. Or the reverse, I don't know what's going on with him, but he's agitated all the time. Or all of a sudden he has these interests in these strange foods that we've never eaten before. Or other examples of, I love to dance. Someone who had never been to a dance hall or to a bar to do that is suddenly engaged in doing dancing. They attribute these things to somehow the heart having a capacity to interpret the energy and to put out their knowledge to the new person, the new recipient. And they think that in those cases where the transplants don't go so well, It's because the people who have received the transplants are really struggling to adjust to the changes that they've had no control over. So Paul talked a lot about a particular work that's being done at Princeton. I'm not going to go into that now because I want to move on, and also for you to have a chance to hear from Carmela. But they did talk about how you can really impact your ability to receive this L energy and interpret it. And they're actually, for anyone who's a meditator or a prayer from Unity, this should sound a little familiar. Here are the things they suggest. First of all, be patient. Be still, tolerant, enduring, and open enough to be able to become sensitive. So often when we're praying, we don't know what's going to come in that prayer. It's about being patient and letting it unfold. Be connected. That's their second one. Try to unite more than control. Oh, we could all have a lesson from that one, that it's really a value for us to think about ways in which we can let go, let God, and to really think much more about how to be connected. The third one is be pleasant. Go along like a heart transplant recipient must do to learn to get along with the new heart. In the PAIR program, those persons who talk nicely to the machines, so the PAIR program did things like having people work at controlling machines, changing the numbers of random distribution, and they had actually a little frog machine called Galvani that they were actually able to train folks to be able to get the frog to go from one place to another using their mind, using their heart. All right? There's so many studies here, you could spend days on it. But the important thing here is to be able to relax enough to let the energy come in. All right? Be humble. Realize that your idea of self is your brain's illusion of separateness. We're all connected and mutually dependent. And lastly, be gentle. Take it easy, take your time, and take what comes. And say, like they do say, try less to control and more to let the force of natural connection happen. So in conclusion, I just want to wrap up by saying, since energy, including light energy, carries information, and you are constantly sending out energy, you are forever in an act of info-energetic intercourse that recreates who and how you are. We're constantly engaged in a reverberating info-energetic dance. Our energy is collected by another energy system. Our energy alters the pattern and resonation of energy for that other system. That system sends out to someone else newly modified form of energy, and that is how it all happens, on and on and on with every beat of your heart. So now it's time for Carmela to talk with you about her spiritual journey and some things that she's been learning.
Good morning. Hi. Oh my God, I'm so excited to see all of you. Thank you, Bob. Thank you for reminding us how important the heart is. And as he said, I'm going to be talking to you about my own journey and understanding of the heart that I've been going through recently. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts about what I'm about to say. So, recently, Reverend Lawrence and I went to Unity Village. I don't know if you know, but that's the headquarters of the Unity movement. And we volunteered there. It was a week of service. We worked really hard. And as part of that, it's called Nehemiah Week. I don't know if I mentioned that. You should look it up, definitely, and volunteer for it. As part of that, they gave us room and board, which meant food. Now, most of you don't know this, but I have a lot of food sensitivities. And through the years, I've reduced what I eat, and I could only eat like 5 things. So I was a little concerned. I was like, okay. They started feeding us barbecue because it's in Kansas City, and I don't know if you know that, they fight about their barbecue. And
all kinds of rich fried fish and all kinds of desserts, and I had an egg sandwich every morning. It was lovely, but I was a little concerned. So I was bracing for the worst, and something interesting happened. Nothing. I was completely fine. Here I was eating all the foods I usually don't, and I was fine. So my heart and my intuition, a question came that I had never thought about before. I said, I wonder, is there a link between my service, the service I'm doing here at Unity Village, and healing? Because I've been trying to heal this for a long time, affirming, praying, all kinds of things. So, as usual, I went to my favorite person, Myrtle. I don't know if you know, I love Charles, but Myrtle's my favorite. And lo and behold, I didn't expect to find anything when I did service and healing. But I don't know if you know, Reverend Kelly Isola wrote this amazing article. It's on unity.org. I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right, but the article was called "Service Was Always Part of the Journey." And in this article, she talks about Myrtle's healing journey. And as some of you know, Myrtle was very sick, and she was never going to heal from this. And through her consciousness and through her understanding, she did heal. And that's how we started with the Unity movement. But what Kelly Isola, the Reverend, says is, however, what I believe has gotten lost in Myrtle's clarity that any healing experience must include being in service to others, offering your gifts, helping others see their own divinity, and giving of your resources. So when I heard this and I read this, I was like, okay, so here is Myrtle telling me that indeed service goes along with her healing journey. It wasn't just about her. And in fact, if you look at what happened in her life, she healed, and she didn't just stay home and say, well, great, I'm healed. See you. She decided to share this with others. She started giving Charles as well, Silent Unity, printing the materials, teaching others about this. So service was integral to her life and to her journey. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but Myrtle we know Myrtle's work mostly through letters that she wrote. And this woman had written to her and said, okay, Myrtle, I need a blessing. Give me the words for a blessing. And what she said, I found, and Kelly Isola, Reverend, also talks about this. She has a whole talk on this. She said, divine love through me blesses and multiplies you. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies you. She didn't say multiplies me or multiplies yourself, it multiplies the other. So how I took that to mean is that any love and healing that I experience multiplies the other and people around you. So I said, okay, so there is something there. So I started thinking, okay, how do I use my own Unity training to follow Myrtle's example? I started thinking, well, what if everything I do through my own healing journey actually impacts everyone else? And I know this seems obvious, but it really struck me at a deeper level, a heart level, as Bob was saying. So I started thinking, what if everything we do matters? And then I thought, well, how often do we fall asleep? We fall asleep to how we come across. I know I do. We fall asleep to our impact. Think about it, I'm on Zoom meetings all day. I say, well, it doesn't really matter how I show up if I have my pajamas on the bottom. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I talk to my daughter. She'll forgive me, you know? So I think we fall asleep and we think that it doesn't matter what we do and how we live our lives, because who cares? But what if everything we do does matter? So I started thinking of a few ways of practicing this in my own life. So I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. There are many others, but here are the three that I want to share with you this morning. So, first is words of truth. As you know, Myrtle healed through speaking words of affirmation to her body. She said, I went to all the life centers in my body and spoke words of truth to them, words of strength and words of power. Now, she's speaking to millions of cells, right? So what's the difference if she speaks to billions of cells or speaking to billions of people? It's the same. We have the same impact. So what if we started speaking words of strength and power to everyone around us? Our mate, our kids, people we work with. How would that change things? Instead of always looking for, well, I don't like that person, right? The second example I want to give you is finding the divine within ourselves. That's a big unity principle, right? It's God is not without, but within, right? In fact, Myrtle said, to do the great works that Jesus promised his followers would do, one must raise his consciousness to the place where he is able to see the perfect image and likeness of God in all people. Right? That's like the namaste concept. The divine in me sees the divine in you. So, what if we would see the divine in others regularly? In our mate, when we're talking to them, see that divine. See it in our coworkers. See it in our church members. How would that shift the energy in your life, in your interactions? And the third example I want to leave you with is prayer. I'm a prayer chaplain. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's why I'm probably at Unity. I love the way we pray. And I started experimenting with prayer as well. I started saying, what if I not only pray my usual prayer, but what if I pray before a meeting? How will that shift that energy in the room? If I pray before I'm going to have a conversation, how will that shift the conversation? So now I find myself constantly praying, just little prayers. And I've been seeing small shifts in people around me, right? So those are the three practices I'd like to suggest, and I'd love to hear yours. I want to leave you with one more Myrtle thought, though. Often we think we can't make an impact unless we're doing something big in the world, right? I'm the minister, I'm Martin Luther King, or whatever. The truth is, as I've given those examples, we constantly are impacting others. But Myrtle was clear. We don't have to do only what we want or what we like or what we think we're passionate or what our purpose is. She says, in Healing Letters, she says, it's not always best for a person to continue doing that which he likes to do or that for which he has been trained. We need to round out, to develop all our faculties and powers to do that which brings us close to humanity and that which increases what the world needs most. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you hate your job, you're not so fond about your mate, it doesn't matter. You have a purpose, and that is the purpose to be that divine spirit in that situation. So I love Myrtle. She's very loving, but she's also tough. So get over it. Be that divine presence. So imagine if we practiced this all the time, if we knew that what we did mattered. What ripple effect could you have in your community, in your world, in your family? What if everything we do matters?
Thank you so much, Bob and Carmela. What peace and ease Bev and Lawrence must have knowing that they are in good hands leaving you both here. Thank you for sharing your talents with us. And now is our time to give back, as you guys so lovingly do. We thank you for all the many ways you donate to us and keep us running. Whether you have a reoccurring payment or you send a check in the mail or you click that donate button, we thank you for that. And now is the perfect time. If you have a gift to give, hold it in your hand or just hold the energy of that gift in your hand as we say together our blessing. With a grateful heart, we acknowledge God as source of all that is. Today, we let go of any concern of lack and allow good to unfold in our lives. Good is ours. Good and more good is ours. Everywhere we go, we see this good, we feel it, we experience it, we freely give it, and it multiplies itself around us. And so it is. Amen.
Y'all ready? All right. We're going to go to New Orleans.
Yeah, if you want to clap, that's the spirit. Yeah. Come on. Sing it with me if you know it. Come on. Ha. I'm gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study one no more. 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 I'm gonna put on my long white robe down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna wear my long white robe down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study one no more. 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 Take it away, come on. You wanna clap your hands, huh? Hey. Yeah, join us. Come on. One no more. I ain't gonna study 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 one no more. Come on, I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. Come on, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by, come on, riverside. Hey, ain't gonna study one no more. I 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 ain't gonna study one no more. Hey, oh, yeah.
If that's not an advertisement to get people out of their beds and here, I don't know what is. I don't know if you felt the fireworks in the form of spiritual goosebumps, but I'm on fire over here. Thank you guys, amazing. Thank you again, Bob and Carmela. What beautiful talks you prepared for us. We're so thankful. And now in closing, we will go ahead and say the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God, and so it is. Amen.
We'd like everyone to please remain standing. We'd like to sing this very special song since it is July 4th today. And I know you're all going to feel compelled to sing along immediately, but I would ask you to just wait a moment, and I will cue you when we can all sing together as this arrangement will dictate. Okay? All right, very good. 2, 3.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet, sweet home.
Let's all sing together.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. God
Thank
bless
you so much.
God bless America. Have a great week.
Happy fun. Blessings are falling, are falling, are falling. Blessings are falling like a sweet, sweet rain. Blessings are falling, are falling, are falling on me. Beauty is falling, is falling, is falling. Beauty is falling like a sweet, sweet rain. Beauty is falling, is falling, is falling on me. Oh Lord, I receive your blessing. Oh receive your grace. Oh Lord, I will dance forevermore. Oh Lord, I receive your blessing. Oh Lord, I receive your blessing.